Hi, I'm the Alchemist Astrologer, and this is your June forecast for Aries Sun, Aries Rising, and Aries Moon. So this month, I'm going to look at your major love lesson and the three most significant dates for love during the month of June. Now, this doesn't necessarily have to be romantic love. It's just important relationships with those that are close to you, those that you are intimately connected with. So your lesson has to do with the Empress. So for some of you, there is a focus on perhaps a mother figure, your wife, your ideal version of femininity, whether that's in yourself or others. Some of you may be focused on a project or just something that brings you a sense of happiness, success, and well-being. So for some of you, communication is also going to be important. This is a month where the lesson is about applying yourself in order to get results. There may be something that you want, something that you aspire to, something that means a lot to you. There's something that would be beneficial. And you're having to put effort toward that. You can't afford to rest on your laurels or think that something is just going to come to you on a silver platter. This says you've got to be making continuous effort toward the goal. And in fact, if you do, you are ultimately going to see some results. And this could be a time where, again, communication is important. Vocalizing what you need, what your desires are, what you want. Speaking openly and honestly in your communication. This could be a time where you actually get to improve your connection with somebody if you've been having some difficulty. Maybe you can smooth some things over. The Empress is going to gift you with loving communication. It's also a time where if you can't make it work, you can be open to new and better connections. So this is a positive. How you work against yourself, though, again, is being lazy, uninvolved, unmotivated, self-indulgent, going too far in situations, whatever those may be. It could be, eating too much, drinking too much, seeking pleasure without thinking about what the consequence is to yourself or to others. It's going too far, spending too much money, being extravagant. The Empress is very grounded. She wants to give birth to something. So there is something within your life waiting for you to give birth to it. And it means you're going to have to grow it, protect it, nurture it, honor it. And you will be rewarded ultimately for that. So you're in a gestation period where something has to be nourished and grown. And again, it may tie to an important person in your life. This may be a tie to a Taurus person. Now, this is going to have a definite impact on your financial capability. You may be looking at your earning and spending capacity. You may be looking at your satisfaction. Are you satisfied with the kind of money that you're bringing in? Are you putting your talents to the best use? How do you feel about yourself? Do you value yourself? Do you have a sense of self-worth? And whatever that is, others are reflecting that back to you. Are you happy and satisfied in those relationships? Are you feeling good about your health? Are you honoring your body by putting healthy foods in it, by exercising, by being accepting of perhaps the flaws that you have? So this is that total sense of prosperity, health, success, and well-being. Now, the affirmation that you need to keep in the forefront of your mind is sometimes what looks like a weed is really a wildflower. So there's a situation that you are connected to that it appeared that it didn't have potential. Maybe it didn't even seem like it was worth anything. Maybe that is how you feel about yourself. Could be a project you're working on, a relationship that you were tied to. But when you look at it a second time, you see that it is again something extraordinary, something that is unusual. And no, it doesn't fit the mold. It goes against the grain. And that's exactly why it's beautiful. Now, the 3 most important dates for you would be the 28th of June, the 19th of June, and the 23rd. So let's start with the first one, the 19th. This is a date that will have a bearing on some kind of business or property dilemma. There's a choice that has to be made. And you're really looking closely at your value system. You're holding on to something. Maybe you're being very protective of your heart, or you're trying to protect your financial resources. But you really have to consider if this has gone to the point of selfishness or greed or someone that you're involved with. Because this is that fear that is driving decisions where you're holding on to something thinking, you're trying to protect something that's valuable, and it ends up costing you dearly in the process. So you may have to relax the reins. Maybe you have to share something or give up something. This is about being more practical in your approach to other people, looking at things realistically so that you can make that better connection, so that you can smooth something over. You're having to look at where you've been very focused on the status quo, not rocking the boat, resistant to change, pessimistic about, entering new territory. And this says it's time to open up and have a cautious approach. You could also be dealing with some issues where there's been a lack of gratitude and you're fighting over that idea that somebody hasn't been appreciative. So you're having to make a choice. Now, you could find yourself in a conflict with someone. Maybe you're choosing between 2 people and somebody's holding on tightly for dear life. You may be conflicted with other people or just having an inner battle with yourself. Maybe you're the go-between. You're mediating some kind of situation. You could be involved in some kind of negotiation or arbitration. Or you could be instigating conflict between other people. Whatever it is, maybe it's time to call a truce. Maybe this ties to some kind of settlement or making peace with a situation where you have to decide. You've been sitting on the fence. There's been some measure of uncertainty, either because you or someone else has been repressing your emotions, stuffing them back. Again, afraid to rock the boat, keeping things bottled up inside because you want to protect yourself. So you're going to have to make a decision, a choice that is pivotal. Maybe you're waiting for information, or you're sorting out how you feel about it. And maybe waiting is essential. Maybe you're waiting for the tide to turn, or you're waiting to gain the advantage. And waiting someone out makes you the winner. But it could very well cost you if you wait too long. And it may tie to some kind of grief. So again, a decision, a conflict, some kind of opposition where there's been some grief concerning protection of security, whether that's emotional or financial. Maybe, there's an issue where somebody needs to travel or they didn't get to celebrate something. This is about movement. So there's some grief. Maybe there's the need to celebrate something, to overcome some grief. Some kind of decision has to be made. Your advice card is curveball. So on the 19th, you can expect something to come out of left field. Something that, you didn't anticipate. Something that maybe throws a wrench in plans or takes it in a totally different direction. And either you're grieving about that, or something fortunate has happened that will help you overcome that grief. So that's going to occur on the 19th. On the 23rd, you have the Hermit and Whirl. Now, for some of you, this is going to be a tie to a Virgo person. That could be Virgo sun, Virgo moon, Virgo rising. For others of you, you're looking at issues connected to information, doing some research, looking closely at a situation, because there are some loose ends that you're going to have to address. Whatever you've been putting off or avoiding, putting aside, it's here. Karma is in front of you, and you're going to have to deal with it. So this is a time for you to take in information, observe. Take a good look at yourself too. Are you doing what you say you will? Are you following through on your words? Are you honoring your words? Are you speaking truth to power? Are other people doing that? So you're having to see what people are doing. And again, you should be very practical, very pragmatic. Don't get caught up in any kind of emotion, because then you can't be objective. This is a time to be logical and somewhat detached so that you can really see the truth and the reality for what it is, and you can make good decisions. Don't rely on other people, what they're going to do or what they've told you. This is about you taking in everything and addressing some things that you've been putting off. Now, for some of you, this may be connected to paperwork, a research project, a book, or your education. Maybe with that world card, maybe you're being educated about foreigners or other cultures or other perspectives. So you're awakening to something. A light is being shown. Maybe you're focused on health. This could be your age or some health challenges. Maybe there's some loneliness or some isolation. And you're having to look at that. It's also about perhaps maybe you're doing something on the internet, researching something on the internet. Maybe you're publishing something. Something is being exposed, some kind of information, and maybe you feel vulnerable, or maybe you're open to this information. This is also about doing an assessment based on what you learn and find out, and knowing what your limitations are. So again, there was some grief that had to be dealt with. Somebody was trying to hold on to static conditions. They need to make a decision. And now something is coming to the end. This is the closing out of a cycle to see where we are now. Where are we going to go from here? In the interim, there could be some confrontation, some crisis, some stress. You're being tested. You're being challenged on your beliefs. And you may find that you don't know what you think you do, or you may be pointing that out to others. Something is going to rise to the light. And maybe you come out a winner. Maybe you achieve the best possible outcome. But again, it's knowing what that glass ceiling is and if it's possible for you to break it. So in some cases, it's what you can say, yes to, and what you can say no to. This is about completing a cycle, closing something out, dealing with karmic circumstances to tie up those loose ends, paying your karmic debts. And you also have seduction. Now, some of you, maybe you're seduced by a Virgo person, or maybe you're seduced by information, wisdom. You're intrigued by that. There's somebody that maybe is very wise, they're an advisor, they're very sage, and you're attracted to that wisdom, and your intuition tells you that they're attracted to you. There's something that is drawing you in. Now, that can be positive or negative. Maybe there's some information that comes to light about a situation where seduction is not a positive attribute. But either you are playing the role of seducer, or you're being seduced by something that you find intriguing and very interesting. And you're having to take in information. Again, it may be that you're attracted to someone from, whose background is very different from yours. Maybe that's exciting. This could be culturally, socially, philosophically, ethnically. Whatever it is, there's a difference. And you're having to learn to tolerate that difference. This could also be some new information that comes to light that gives you a fresh start, a second chance at something. So if there's been some pain, some grief because of betrayal, separation, loss, or disappointment, This says that it's possible for you to start over if you have compassion, not only for the other person, but for yourself as well, for any mistakes and shortcomings. The advice is big mistake. Now, you're going to have to determine what that means. It means, perhaps in some cases, if there's a big mistake, you're going to have to start over. You're going to have to correct that. You're going to have to pay your dues connected with that. In other cases, it may mean it's a big mistake for you not to open up to something. So you're looking at a situation that you're very intrigued by, or someone is trying to attract you in, and you're going to have to decide whether this works for you on some level or it's a mistake. Now, by the 28th, you have the Justice card and the Two of Cups. So there's a decision. There's kind of a flow here. There's some uncertainty about something. Some information is coming to light. You're seduced by something. Now this is showtime. You're going to have to make a decision. You're really going to have to examine your conscience and perhaps settle some debts or account for something, or you're asking someone else to. This is about being fair, just, and for some of you, there's a partnership connected with somebody in the legal profession. So you may be dealing with a legal situation. Maybe you're dealing with a Libra person. So a partnership, an agreement of some sort is on the table. And your level of attachment, again, what are you holding on to, and is it causing you grief? So either you're becoming more loyal, more devoted to somebody, you're offering your support, there's a reciprocation between you and another person, or you're starting to question the loyalty. You're starting to become suspicious of what the motive is. And maybe you're in conflict and becoming an enemy. So you are having to restore the balance to something, an agreement, a partnership, a decision. You're going to have to right the scales based on some information that you've received. Again, for some of you, this is centering around a legal agreement, something that is binding, maybe a contract. And maybe you're involved in something connected to a book, and now you're going to have to make a decision. Based on what you found out, it's a go or it's a no-go. This agreement is also some kind of opportunity. You're not sure if you should open that door. This is an opportunity that depends on your initiative. So right now, you're trying to make a decision. You're trying to sort out something. Is somebody in la-la land? Is this real? Is this solid? Is it viable? Or maybe it ties to something creative, a decision where color, line, balance, harmony, and, your imagination. It's an opportunity to expand your imagination. In other cases, maybe there's a challenge. You're trying to restore some order, your mental health, your emotional equilibrium. You're trying to sort out some facts. Again, this is an opportunity that definitely depends on you. And the advice is, don't give up on you. In spite of whatever may be going on, maybe you can't see something clearly, it's difficult to get to the truth, you're trying to get some information, you're trusting your intuition, your gut, maybe you're looking at what people are saying, something doesn't feel right. Whatever it is, you have to restore that balance. Maybe you have to take that opportunity and, not give up on yourself. Now, the underlying cards are Three of Cups, Children, and change. So maybe there's some kind of change that's happening connected to children. Could be children are impacting your life. Could be there's a change in the way you communicate with a child or the relationship. Could be somebody's being childish. This says you're trying to balance something connected to a partnership and your feelings. Maybe there's some kind of festivity, some kind of celebration. Maybe there's a new child in the family, or you're trying to have a child. Whatever it is, there's a sense of a change, a transformation. Perhaps there's an ending of some sort. Maybe you've been waiting in vain for something, And maybe now there's a celebration. There's a change that happened. You've been waiting in vain for a breakthrough with your relationship. Or maybe you're dating someone younger, or you're starting something new, the initial stages. But you're having to face an ending, maybe, in order to start this something new. And perhaps you're having to deal with some kind of truth. Now, this Three of Cups says maybe there's a third party involved. There's a lot of exchange, a lot of information, a lot of things coming to the fore. And again, you're going to have to listen carefully because everything you hear is not the truth. So again, you're going to have to sort out what is actually believable, what's fact, what's fiction. Could be you're listening to some gossip, some rumors, some exaggeration, some lies, and you're going to have to be able to determine what's just trivial fluff and what is real solid information. You're going to be getting both, and there are going to be opportunities perhaps for you to exchange heartfelt appreciation with others. It's about knowing who your real friends are. People working for you, or are they working against you? So there's some kind of change that's taking place. All right, so ultimately this is about smoothing some things over, getting the best possible outcome, taking a second look at situations that maybe you'd given up on that seemed lost to you, but actually hold the seed of potential. Just because they're not following the conservative pattern or program you had in your mind or you had envisioned doesn't mean that it doesn't have any value. All right, Aries, comment down below and let me know what happens on these very important dates for you.